Well, all right. So, I have to tell you, I'm fairly accustomed to troubleshooting, repairing, adjusting, and even upgrading just about every printer that I've owned, in the past 15 years, 20 years, who knows how long, and how many printers. But, I'd have to say the Bambu lab printers, they are a little different. But when it comes down to it, the mechanics are just about the same, right? So when you're troubleshooting the printers with the Bambu, like I said, is a little different, but troubleshooting can be very similar. Now I've had the Bambu Lab, the X1 Carbon, for about 9 months, I guess, at the time of this this video, and the P1S. Upgraded from a P1P. I've had that for maybe 6 to 8 weeks or so. And both of these printers, they have recommended maintenance schedules, right, to keep them running top notch. And a lot of the maintenance is for cleaning, lubricating, and inspecting other parts for normal wear and tear, right? I want to focus on the hot end, because every once in a while, you don't have to do it a lot, but every once in a while you're going to have to replace one, right? I've heard of some guys that they've had their hot end actually bend, right? And of course you have to replace it. Some can bend it back. If you bend it back, be very, very careful, because it can snap pretty easy. And if you don't have a spare, you're just going to be out of luck until you get one. So just be careful with that. And the bending, I mean, it could be from collision with say with the print that you have on hand, or it could be when it's going through the nozzle cleaning procedure, and it's going back and forth. It could be hitting something there, because once they get hot, if they're hot, and it's right there on the throat, is my guess is where they're bending, because when they get hot, it's a little easier to bend, right? Now I have not had that problem myself, but I've heard on a lot of forums where some guys that they're bending, and if you see when it's laying out the lines there on the corners, and if you see that they're misplaced, or they're even off the bed now, well, it's probably because of a bent nozzle, right, or a bent hot end. And so take a look at it and go from there. But so whatever the reason, it could be from a bad clog, or maybe the nozzle's just wearing out. I mean, if you print a lot with carbon fiber or a lot of the abrasive filaments, then sooner or later you're going to have to replace them, right? Now it's pretty easy to take that entire hot end assembly off, and Bambu Lab has on their wiki, they have a couple of videos that are pretty good. So if you just go to their wiki page, and right there, X1, and I'm concentrating on the X1 series right now. So X1 series maintenance, then scroll down, and there's the hot end assembly nozzle, and you can go through here. It's pretty informative, and you can see it has a couple of videos there, one for replacing the complete hot assembly and one for replacing the hot end. So you can follow that along, but also if you take notice where it says the warning, that thermistor plug is equipped with a buckle or latch different than the fan and the heater, because there's 3 cables going on there. And to tell you the truth, I didn't see any special buckle or latch. Just be careful when you're pulling any of those plugs out, and it's not hard to distinguish one from the other they're not. It's not like they're identical plugs. You know, one's a two of them are 2-pole, one's a 3-pole, and they're all different sizes. So it's kind of hard to mix them up, right? But regardless, take note of that warning and see if you have that that special buckler latch on the connector. So doing this is not really that hard. Now, on other printers, you can, if you needed to replace the nozzle, say, they're really easy to take off, right? You just unscrew them and put a replacement on there. The trick is that it has to be hot, right, when you're taking those on and off. And with Bambu Lab, no, you just can't unscrew the nozzle, but everything is, you don't have to have it heated up. Everything's already emptied out. You know, there's no filament in there, and you just take that whole assembly off and work on it, right? Now you have the option of replacing the hot end, which is the heat sink, the throat, and the heater block, right? And it has the nozzle on there. So you can replace this part of it, or you can replace the entire assembly, which includes the hot end plus the fan. What else? The thermistor, that ceramic heater, the silicon sock right there. So just the entire assembly, and then all you have to do is just unplug it and screw it back in. Now, if you follow their videos, it's really simple. It's not hard to do. Even rebuilding it is not that hard. A lot of times it's really quick and easy just to put this whole assembly on, especially if you don't have the time or the inclination to do it, then just replace the whole assembly. But if you have the time, this is the way I like to do it. I like to take it apart anyway to see, you know, what the problem is, right? I want to find a root cause for whatever ails it. I want to know what's going on. So, and while I do that, then I'll replace the parts that needed to be replaced. So if you're going to take the hot end assembly apart, be sure to be careful with the thermistor and the ceramic heater. Now you can see here's the cable for the fan. This is for the ceramic heater. You can see it poking out over here. Now the thermistor goes on the side. I'll show you that here in a second, and routes up. But this is what could happen. You see these are very thin wires going through, and you can see how they're separated right here. And this is what it should look like. Now this is the pack of spares that I bought. Now you see how they come through, and they're like a little spot of solder or whatever at the tip that keeps it together. And if you're not careful, it could separate just like this one did. So in this case, I think the hot end will still work. It just needs to be cleaned up and put fresh thermal paste, or the thermal, comes with plenty of it, a thermal grease or thermal paste. It comes with everything. There's plenty of it. Make sure you put plenty of it on there, and even in that little hole where the thermistor goes in, right there. And you can follow along with that on the Bambu video. But what happened, I had taken this off, you know, as part of that troubleshooting, and when I took this clip of this clip, you know, and I took everything off, and while I was pulling this out, you know, the thermal paste had just gotten so dried up, this thing was just wedged in there. When I yanked it out, I put a little too much force and poof, it just separated. So that little piece is still in there somewhere. But I think I can get in there with a pick or just anything, clean it out, clean all this stuff off, and I think this will still work. So this is the 0.6 nozzle hot end that I had robbed the thermistor off of, so I can get my printer going again while I waited for these parts. So, I mean, it's very rare that I have to change these out. I usually do use a 0.4 nozzle, but with this one, just in case, I'm going to go ahead and replace the thermistor on this 0.6 nozzle just in case, because every once in a while, if I do switch over and need to switch, it'll be ready to go. I won't have to go through this. It's pretty easy. There's the fan off of it, and this clip, it's pretty easy. It just slides off. Sometimes you need to get, if you have a little screwdriver, or there she goes. And you can see that ceramic heater still on there, but I still want to put some paste. I want to make sure there's plenty of paste on for the thermistor. This was a previously opened pack. Now I'll put some on the tip, and if you can get in there and get plenty of paste inside, and bingo, insert it all the way in and then bend it back. And when you put the clip on, you'll notice see, it has those little indentations, or those little, it gives clearance for these cables. So let's put this, we'll slide this back on. Once that is on, now we can put the fan back on. Let's see, there it is. So there's that, and let's see, I had some other socks. Let's go ahead and put a sock on it too. Alright, so we'll put the sock on and make sure your opening here lines up with the cable egress up here around the throat. And there she blows. So now I have my 0.6 hot end assembly ready to install. So like I said, it's not really that hard at all. With there's the hot end itself, and there it is in a pack, and you can see it comes with the hot end, it comes with the little clip here, the silicone sock, even the hardware, plenty of thermal paste, everything's there. when you get the entire assembly. So you can see everything's there. The fan, the clip, the silicon sock, everything is assembled and ready to go. You just plug it right back in, screw it down, and boom, you're done. But just be careful with that. Yeah, and with this hot end, I was changing it as part of a whole range of troubleshooting that I was going through when I was battling symptoms from a firmware update that had a lot of printers just go haywire, right? And in my troubleshooting, I was trying to rule out any mechanical issues before I blame anything else or blame the firmware. But luckily, I had a spare hot end assembly. It was different size. This was the 0.6 millimeter, but at least I had a spare, so I wasn't left out in the cold. So I just put that 0.6 millimeter in, and then went and ordered a replacement hot end, and went ahead and ordered some thermistors and all that good stuff. And I would highly recommend having some of these thermistors, the ceramic heaters, just all the little parts in your toolbox, just in case, right? Because if anything goes bad, if one of those little pieces goes bad, then you're just out of luck with the printer until you can replace it, right? So it's good to have some spare parts here and there. Yeah, so I would give it a shot. It's not that hard. And I guess that is it for this video. If you have any questions, be sure to reference this video or reference the Bambu Lab wiki page. It's pretty informative. And I guess that is it. So as always, thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe and watch my next video.